That was a whole lot of dominance over Comet there. He was not welcome by June. Yeah, sorry everyone, it's not Ngwazi and Shimbulu, it's Pumela and Kingarika. Lots of greeting ceremonies taking place there. Heart's pair are actually getting huge. It's terrifying. Why are you growing up so quickly? Comet's back. This is interesting. A greeting ceremony with Kingarika. Males are welcome around the Dane. They're not welcome. And Tima's coming. Comet's walking away. Oh, this is so fascinating. I'm so overjoyed to have an active Dane. So as I sit here, you guys, let's take a look at the weather across all our locations.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve this morning. We're sitting on a wet area where it's lightly been pouring last night. But now we're looking at the crested franklins. They're on a road. I think this is all about the wet grass that I don't like to walk about in there. So my name is Andrew this morning, and then I have Paul on camera. So this is where we begin. And we're going to be searching around here. There was also... looks like a male lion was heard or seen, and then we're just going to go find out if he's still around. Then that would be one of the Avoca males. And then I understand they actually have to move so much when the weather's like that, especially last night. It's been actually started with the wind picked up. Most carnivorous species such as lion, leopards, and that's where they're going to move so much. Crested franklin is one of the spare fowls around here. It's the most common throughout the park. They're actually easy to identify compared to other four. But the other ones are Swanson's spare fowls, Natals, Koki, Shelley's franklins. And this number 5 is a crested franklin right there. So we have all 5 different species in this area of spare fowls. It looks like they have vanished because maybe they have an axis through that wood. A little grassy. I'm going to continue looking for these male lions. Hope I'll find it for everybody. So I'm going to be moving about searching for these male lions for everybody, but I'm going to be sending you across to Lauren.
So much action, everyone. All the cubs are here now, including Braveheart, Ngwazi, and Shimbulu. But Heart's cubs are really dominating, or they have been dominating June. Considering the size of June, she's bowing down to them. Now, if we didn't know the clan like we do, that immediately tells you whoever that cub's mother is, which we know it's Heart, is higher ranked than June. And that's why we need to sit here, we need to observe. June is a mahusa female, she is huge. And yet she bows down to Gingirika and Pumela. Hello, little one. Hello. Oh, no. It's safer at the den. It's a whirlwind of spots. It's sometimes really difficult to keep track of who's who. Of course, the smaller ones are easier. Oh, I've got a set of false teeth. Who do they belong to? Clearly an antelope that is no longer alive. Yummy. I knew today was a perfect day to get the den active, and that's what's happened. They've split. The bigger ones in den number... The bigger ones are in den number 3, the smaller ones in den number 1. Look at the size difference here between this really is Shimbulu. I know I got it wrong, but that's the real Shimbulu. And Intima's little one. Oh, he's going to try and go inside. Oh. Look at the size difference. Oh, Ribbon's just joined us. Good morning, Ribbon. Looking fabulous. Here we go, she's coming. Matriarch is in town. Javi, you do an incredible job at following the hyenas. I keep throwing names at you, and you're able to keep up. Good job. Now, don't worry, Ribbon's just behind the car. We can't really reposition, but the adult's still present. Oh, Braveheart. Lovely to see you. Mark, you're asking, how do the hyenas build their den? They don't. This is a termite mound, or it used to be an old termite mound. The termites built it, which is just remarkable, and most likely it was burrowed, probably by a porcupine. That's the most likely suspect. I just want to see this interaction. So that's Ribbon and granddaughter right there, who's trying to suckle from the wrong mother. Grandmother and grandchild. So yes, it will have been burrowed by yet another species, and then the hyenas will come in and take over. And I think they do a lot of sort of digging once they get inside. The cubs are very capable of digging, and they will obviously renovate it. possibly change it a little bit, but it's actually a termite mound burrowed by another species and then taken over by the hyenas. But this one, the vegetation's still completely overgrown, so it's making it a little bit challenging to keep up with everybody. Ribbon has just anal pasted everywhere. So she's coming in, she's checking on the den, she's checking on the cubs, and she's marking the territory as matriarch. She's leaving behind a lovely secretion from her bottom, and that is how hyenas mark their territory, but that's what she's doing. They do mark around den sites, and that's how all the other hyenas, like Comet, like the males, Pika, Luca, Saka, that's how they know where the communal den is, synced. Well, you've got a voice. Can you believe that? The smallest cub. FC just said we can hear. Well, I hope so. That was so loud. Tiny little cub. You see how she puts her head down when they're making that noise? And you see how she walked backwards every time she whooped? That's the whooping sound. Ooh. June's come. Devastated that everyone's disappeared. Where's everybody? That was incredible. And many of you ask, at what age do they make vocalizations? Well, there you have it. Rosemary, you're saying that's so cute, like a little siren. A little but loud siren. Oh, that has to be the cutest sighting of today. Vocalizations. And don't worry, everyone, June's still here. Looking like a hot air balloon that has landed on the ground. Okay, I am not going anywhere. Hopefully, there's more cuteness to come.
With a slew of potential dangers lurking, it's essential to be aware of your surroundings whilst walking in the wilderness.
20 yards away from one of the most endangered species. This is a big bull.
What a moment, what a close encounter with an Ellie bull. He's just over here now. He's moved completely away.
Being on a bushwalk and seeing a leopard, I mean, it's ridiculous to be this close to a leopard on foot and for him not to run is absolutely insane. How crazy was that?
Through the gap there is just the back of the head of a male lion. He is absolutely unaware that we are here right now. I tell you, seeing lions on foot, it definitely brings out the caveman in you, this little scared human being.
We get asked quite regularly what are the differences between African and Asian elephants. We caught up with Haresh, who's from Leopard Trails, which is based in Sri Lanka.
Of course, size and weight is the first thing you notice. The African elephant is much bigger than the Asian elephant. tusks. In the Asian elephant, it's a very small percentage of male elephants only who have tusks. I was told that there's a theory that the African elephant's ear is in the shape of Africa. The Asian elephant has a much smaller ear. The elephant represents the bush and the jungle in Sri Lanka in a quintessential manner, and I think it's very important that we do whatever we can to protect them.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at Wild Earth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live Safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
Good everybody, so we get to this position of this single male lion. He just fled in that grass. It's probably one of the member of Avoca male. Well, I'm not sure, maybe he came from the north. Probably is going to be doing this because the weather, it's great, so it's not raining, but the temperatures for the animals, it's great, so it's dropped very well. Just couldn't tell if it's one of maybe it's a dark mane, because he was seen far up north with the Italamati pride a few days ago. And it's usual for lion to leave the pride, go do their own businesses. And that business is to make sure their territory is secure, it's safe. Reactivate their scent mark. Make sure it stays there as a message for the other lions that they not belong to the area. Heather, you're asking why the mane so black. So usually males, when they grow old, when they anything above 6 years, 7 years, they change mane to dark. So when they're 4.5, 5 years, the mane is pretty much tawny, goldish. So what we see in this male is actually grown old or up. Yeah, so from 6.5, 7, 8 years, the mane for male lions change. But not entire body, only the mane. 'Cause And the mane on the lions, it actually presents the feature of his status. So male has a mane, so it works perfect. And they will be able to know each other, which one is older, which one is bigger, by looking at their height, also the bigger of animal. When that comes to fight, because you gotta have a strong animal. In a fight, sometimes fatal death take place when they do that. And they fight over a territory. So important to have mane as a male. Maybe before the fight take place, they would know exactly what challenge they might face. Maybe not to win a battle because they're far too big with that challenge. So I'm going to stay put here. Hopefully he picks that up. We can see how beautiful he is. In the meantime, I'll be sending you across to Lauren and Hyena.
Good luck with your lions getting active, Andrew. The den is still active. Lots of fun going on. We've got a horn of some sort. Braveheart has found, well, I think some sort of antelope horn. Can't really see it from here, but there's clearly been a carcass here at some point. Our little noisy siren has gone back inside. But he or she will come back. Not been named yet, not been sexed yet. Oh no, you're not inside. How did you fool me? You were outside. This is actually really lovely. We've got the younger ones. So here we have Baby and Tima and Braveheart and Novella with the false teeth in her mouth. So this is the sort of younger ones. 2 girls and 1 unknown. Future of the Djuma clan. Nina, hours and hours upon hours upon hours of sitting at the den. And I mean hours. A lot of hard work. And I get it wrong. I got it wrong earlier. Because they're getting so big so quickly and their spots are all blurring into each other. I thought it was Ngwazi and Shimbulu, but it was actually Pumela and Gingirika. So I get it wrong, but otherwise just hours of trying to learn these individuals. I mean, this lot are easy. There's 3 different age groups and they're all at very different stages in their development. It's the older ones that I sometimes get confused between. But what was really interesting there is very little aggression, you might have noticed. But Braveheart did try to dominate Novella. Now they're cubs. They will always frolic around, sometimes aggressively so. They will always really try to dominate each other, but that wasn't a long enough citing to say. But what it could mean is that Braveheart's mom, Corky, is more dominant than Navella's mum, June. And it's not really aggressive enough to sort of conclusively say that, but these are the signs that we're looking for. And out of all of the three of them, the smallest one is actually the most dominant. Because it's Ntima's child. Someone's getting a bit too brave now. They all do have different spot patterns, Nina, but I actually don't go by spot pattern for the cubs. Sharella? Shareas. You're asking how many different calls can a hyena make? Actually, a lot. It's said to be around 14 different calls, or vocalizations, we call them. And they will all have different sort of meanings for the hyenas. We do get the giggling, we get the whooping. It's a form of communication. They will communicate over long distances, and it's said that they can recognize each and every individual's calls, all 14 of them. Now, that fact alone immediately tells you they have exceptional cognitive ability, especially in larger clans. They know exactly who's calling, even from kilometers away. Look at this little one trying to be dominant. And look at the difference in Navella here, Junebug, and in Ntima's one. And you can see the spots just all of a sudden start to appear. The hair lightens. It's incredible. So I'm going to sit here for as long as I can, but for now, let's go across to Ngala to say good morning.
Good morning and welcome to And Beyond Ngala, everyone. And as you can see, we are joined by some wildebeest and some impala this morning. It's been a very wet evening and start to our morning here at Ngala. We had over 45 mils of rain last night and this morning, so the ground is very wet. And as you can see with animals as well, they're still quite damp this morning. My name is Nick, and behind camera we've got Odie this morning. And our plan, we're the only vehicle out in the reserve, so our plan is just to drive as many areas as possible and see what we can find this morning. Lots of the tracks from last night, the animals moving around, the nocturnal creatures would have washed away. Tracks from this morning as well washed away. The bonus is if we do see any tracks on the ground this morning. Well, the frogs are overpowering me. Yeah, it means that they will be very fresh. And you can see the wildebeest and impala this morning out in the open clearings, feeding and moving around. It's a beautiful start to the morning. It was, as I said, pouring with rain this morning. We had some coffee on the tea deck. And as it stopped, we have come out to see what we can find this morning. And not a bad opening for us with some wildebeest and impala, and they're all starting to move across to our right. The impalas are leading the charge, with the wildebeest following quite closely behind. There was an enormous bull blue wildebeest here this morning, so I wonder where he has gone. He might still be on the left-hand side of the road, but I'm sure with his females and youngsters moving across, he will be joining them shortly. Be interesting to see the behavior of lots of animals this morning, especially the territorial ones, considering the rain would have washed away all their scents. Means they will have to start scent marking this morning again. Get maybe a vocalization from a lion at some stage as well. So, Angie, that's a very, very good question. The wildebeest and impala, you often see them together. It's as a result of the fact that they feel a bit safer together. I mean, the wildebeest, how many are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that bull. There were 6 wildebeest here this morning, and there are probably close to 50 impala in this area. So now you can imagine if there is something like a lion moving around or a leopard for the young wildebeest, having the extra eyes and ears of the impala and having the extra awareness around helps them out. So that's why you'll often see animals, wildebeest and impalas moving around together so that they feel a little bit safer. You'll often also see zebra moving around within these herds of impala and wildebeest. Impalas are all running around, pronking this morning, having a good time. I think our plan from here is going to be to head down to the Timbavati River and see how much it has picked up with the rain from last night and this morning. It was almost dry in front of Tented Camp yesterday evening, and this morning there is a little trickle running past. So I wonder if we won't see it filling up a little bit again today. But our plan is to head down to the river, see what the river looks like, and check on the lioness in her den site. And hopefully she's still there, and maybe with the rain we'll get our first view of the youngsters. So we're going to continue on our way down towards the riverbed, but for now we're going to send you back over to Andrew with his lions.
Good luck, Nicky. Now what we've seen here happens. He only flip over our male lion, so to do that, he just roll over to the other side, so he didn't even bother standing up for us. Since he will probably look at us from time to time, but he hasn't yet, so it's probably that he's very much comfortable with that place. And so you're asking that the lions always feed also in the winter, so they always feed. Oops, looks like he heard us. They always feed. Or sleep, rest in winter. Sorry about that. Yes, they do. They rest also in winter. The winter also, they also still feel cold as we do. And they do feel, if it's too much colder, they also feel very cold. But if it's medium temperature, they also, feel that. Just like right now, where now it's cloud. So even though those elephants are far too big, they have a thicker layer of a coat. When it's wind cold and they feel the cold, and they go down to the covered area where it's less wind. But they get used to the winter, because winter there is really no choice. So evening temperature drop very much, and they stand the cold in the whole night. But they still do the movement around. And this is where they try harder to hunt in the winter, where it's then very open. Grass is all just down, flat. Trees shed all leaves. And they come visible every time they hunt, especially in the full moon. Oops. Oh. Looks like something frightened him now. Take it easy again. So yeah, summer, it's best for most cats. Because then the grass is tall and then they have a lot of chance to hide when they hunt. Here we're in this little open area. What we seen as we come down here was a lot of impala running around, and we knew he's still around. It's because some chances they saw him and then they just vanished, they're gone. But if they don't know he's here or they don't smell ever that he's around here, they would be more likely to walk close to him without knowing that he's there. But unless if they pick up their smell, because of course prey species, they know the danger, how this smells like, especially like lions and leopards. Anyway, so you're asking if the male lions leave the pride. He also sticks in the same area. Sorry. Yeah, you would. So what happened when he leave the pride? It's actually temporarily reject the pride, but not forever. It's that he has to, because he cannot keep up with them always. They gotta do their thing, and with him being there, maybe there's no chance he can do his work properly. So he would, depending on how ground is actually dominating. So if we talk about 18 square kilometers of the ground that you dominate, or they dominate 3 of them. So it means that when they leave the pride, that pride of Talamati they have up north, and is pushing south. And this is where we seen yesterday Ngoma pride up in the far south. And then I believe the Ngoma, they have one of their brothers, his brother, with them. So they kind of like spread around. So possibly he may join there, or then always go back or together back to one pride at a time, or then all separate. So they don't actually leave the pride forever, and they would stick within their territory of a dominate. So, but I've seen lions reject the pride and go forever, not to return back. You know, we have a Birmingham here where they came in, and then they had such a beautiful territory they set up, and they have a females that dominate 3 different pride, which was a Torchwood, was a Nkuhuma, was a Talamati. But because of maybe force of a power they have, and that they have to leave these all 3 brides, and then they move far south there. And this is when we saw Avokas, started to dominate, because then there was no male dominating this area at that time. They were just gone, the Birmingham. So that was actually totally reject the pride, and then decided to move somewhere else where they think they can win a fight, and they can dominate somewhere else. But reject the pride that way, it's very sad. It happens a lot of time. When the male reject the pride, and they have a lot of their cubs, and their cubs get killed behind while they're gone. So I'm gonna stay put here.
When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Our bodies are made up of about 60% water, which means that in a very short space of time, you can dehydrate completely. A relatively efficient way of collecting water early in the morning is to take an absorbent material like a sock and to walk through the grass, absorbing the condensed dewdrops on the grass. Once the material is saturated, you can then squeeze it out into a container, or you can suck it out directly into your mouth.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at and Beyond Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through and Beyond Ngala on Wild Earth. Send me live questions through the Wild Earth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
Something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
What fascinates me most about the animal circle of life is the intricacies between the large and the very, very small. I mean, it's very easy to go out there and find the large. Once you found the large, the cascading effect down to the small absolutely fascinates me. Alertness and situation awareness is by far the number one aspect for protecting ourselves out on safari.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
The action at the hyena den is non-stop. It's been such a... This is my happy place, everyone. I haven't even started eating my banana or peanut butter. Been too occupied. It's been very sweet. Now, just to give you some context, Ribbon's here with her two boys, but she's been licking and booping with her nose all the cubs. Ribbon really is really special. They all are special, but there's something about Ribbon and her demeanor and her character and just her general ethos. She's very, very gentle with all the cubs. She lets them all boop her, she lets them all sniff her, she gives them all a little lick. Very, very tender. Every single one of them. Hearts, Corkies, Junes, and of course, her very own grandchild. I've been waiting for a morning like this for a long time. And it's down to the weather. It's still cool, it's still slightly overcast. Dale at this stage, yes. They are very gentle with all the cubs. And Gwazi and Shimbulu, they've obviously got something from their mother. They're really, really gentle little boys. And they seem to care a lot about the other cubs, possibly anthropomorphizing here, but there's a lot of tenderness in terms of physicality. But yes, they could be very dominant. They are the matriarch's sons. And at this stage, with them all being cubs, they do rule the roost. But once the females start getting older and turning into adults, things will change naturally. But at this stage, they're all very much cubs. That looks delicious. We're going to take it inside. Oh. No. Now I can assure you this cub is not eating. It's more like a toy, just gnawing with its teeth. So yes, Dale, they are dominant. They really don't act it. I think I can count a handful of times that I've seen Ngwazi and Shimbulu be extremely dominant, considering they are the matriarch's sons. But it'll be interesting because will they disperse like the rest of the 97% of spotted hyenas, or will they stay like the 3%? You normally find that 3% that do stay with their natal clan and act philopatric will be those higher ranked males, because life is good. Life is great. Your mother's a matriarch. Everyone respects you. You're getting all the food. The high ranked males are more likely to stay. But again, it's better for every individual male to disperse in order to get mating opportunities. It's ridiculous how cute this is. I didn't catch that name, but yes, they do have milk teeth. And believe it or not, hyenas, cubs, are born still altricial, but they're a lot more precocial than the other predators, be it cheetah, lion, leopard. They are born with their eyes open. I wouldn't say fully open, not full sort of bright wide eye, but they definitely are born with their eyes open, and they're born with their canines erupted. Their milk canines erupted. And they're very aggressive from the minute they're born, especially with their sibling. So they're a little bit more developed than the likes of the other predators. The gestation period's marginally longer. It's 4 months, 16 weeks. But they still are altricial enough that they need to be kept in dens, of course. But yes, they do have milk teeth. I mean, they're kept in milk for a very, very long time, 18 months to 24 months. Milk is safe, and milk is extremely rich, especially those of hyenas. And it takes about till 2 years old until their jaws fully sort of kick into action. And only then will they really be able to crunch bones. And Davy and I were just chatting about June's huge belly, and it's remarkable. We see them a lot. We saw Comet the other day, and he looked like he could not even move. He was rolling down Philemon's cut line. But they hunt so much more than we realize. They have this terrible name for being scavengers, and yet all predators are scavengers, mostly. I mean, cheetahs and wild dogs do prefer fresh meat. But if times are tough, they absolutely all will steal from each other. We've seen Hosanna steal from Pretty. We've seen the Nkuhuma steal from Hosanna. We've seen Tingana steal from Tlalamba. And they all steal from one another. And yet hyenas just have this really terrible reputation. But what we mustn't forget is they do hunt. There is absolutely no way all members of the Djuma clan could sustain, thrive, just solely by stealing leopards' kills. They absolutely hunt. We just don't see it. The environment, what we're dealing with here, is very dense. It's very, very thick. And the hunts are probably very easy. Wildebeest calves, impala lambs. The smaller animals, it'll be over very, very quickly. I wish we saw more hunts, because that would really show everyone that they do hunt. Yes, they scavenge, but yes, they hunt. They hunt by coursing, similar to wild dogs and the Ethiopian wolves. They just run, 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 exhaust your prey. Incredible stamina. Whereas your cats, they rely on stalking and ambushing. Hyenas are the opposite. It seems to have quietened down a little bit here, but I'm going to stay a little longer. And for now, we're going to send you across to Andrew with his lions.
Right, everybody, at least we got these male lions. Putting his head up, trying to catch his tail, looks like it. And he's playing harder to catch his own chipped tail there. Maybe he's got a little bit of ticks. So that black pitch end of the tail usually carry ticks somehow. He's gone flat again. So you're asking how long would they hunt after a feed? And so usually when they're full belly, lions mainly don't hunt unless if by surprises they had an opportunity to take things down without working hard for it. That can happen. But serious hunt take place after maybe a day or two. Because they eat so much sometimes, and then with that full belly they cannot chase and they cannot till they digest properly, which digesting quick, full tummy would be properly digest in 1 day or two, which means third day then they'll probably would be interested on properly hunting again. Out here, the prey species are well abandoned, so impalas, quite a lot of them. So for pride of 12 cannot be enough for an impala, so they cannot be full tummy. They need at least zebra, wildebeest. They can spend hours, get these belly full, and then they'll forget about hunting for at least 2 days. Well, to me, it doesn't look like full belly there. It's very empty belly. Daft Giraffe Girl, so you're asking, I think the Duckman has kicked out of the Talamati Pride? No, he's not. So he's just having a kind of like a, time for himself to be able to work out his territory, Centimark. He would probably rejoin them again or join the Gorma, whichever pride is around here. For now, they dominate these two prides. So he's not kicked out. So we saw him a few days ago up north, far north, with the Talamati Pride. But it's typical for male to leave the pride 1 or 2 days. And then it's very important that we had a rain last night, so all of us sent all the animal that they use their spray chemical to scent their territory. It's washed off mainly. He's gonna have to redo it again. That also is resulting in Hungary take place for quite a few days when he's separate from the pride, and unless if he scavenge or get to kill something around here by his own, where they're mainly lazy lions, male lions, but the females push so much on hunting. When he's got the girls, then he's gonna feed for sure, because they hunt and they kill quite often. So I'm gonna take another time, see if he probably stood up for us. But in the meantime, we're sending you across to Ngala. We would also have a cat.
Welcome back, everyone, and as you can see, we've been super lucky this morning. We came towards the lioness's den site with what we've only seen as 2 very small youngsters so far. I think they're still too small to be coming out of the den. And the young lioness and her 2 cubs, the 1-year-old ones, were here. And then as we were driving back from the den site, we saw another 2 lions that have come. And if you have a look, you can see they are starting to groom each other, and they had a nice reunion between all of them. The little ones went running over to the adults to say hello. I haven't seen yet, it's quite far where we're sitting, so I haven't seen which other lionesses it is from the Birmingham Pride, but there are 2 other lionesses here. It could be, looks like it might be 1 sub-adult, and then maybe even the mother of the youngsters that are in this den. We'll have to get a little bit closer just now and have a look. But it's always a good spot to start here at Angala. When it has rained, the lionesses and the lions don't enjoy the wet grass. So good areas to check is within the Timbavati riverbed. And the river has come up quite considerably since yesterday. It's still very much crossable, but it has come up quite a lot since yesterday. Odie and myself couldn't believe our luck when we came here and there were lions. We thought we were going to have a bit more of a difficult morning trying to find any of the predators, but here they were just in the riverbed. It was actually the same place where the lioness with the 2 older cubs, the 1-year-old cubs that are in picture, those 2 that are lying in the middle there, they were also born in this area. Still only part of the pride. The rest of the pride, as I mentioned yesterday, we did have tracks of what we think were the part of the pride with the old lionesses and the 2 white lions, but they crossed out again. And then this morning with all the rain that we've had, we didn't even go and check there, because unless we're lucky and they're lying on the road, you're not going to see tracks of where they've come in. So I think later this morning we'll definitely go have a look around the east and see if maybe they haven't come back. I'm quite excited to see that portion of the pride again. We haven't seen them for quite a while. And this group that we have in front of us have been treating us the last couple of days. I wonder what that lioness that just sat up heard. Was just cleaning herself. Such social animals. The mother and the two cubs looked quite sad this morning. They were all wet, lying in the grass, and very happy when the others came. So lion prides, when it is raining, and lions, they are cats. And I don't know if you have seen with domestic house cats, they're not huge fans of water, so they don't like the rain too much. But it will vary. Most of the time you'll see that they do end up finding a bush or a little bit of cover to try and shelter themselves away from the... It'll be interesting to see where this lioness goes. To shelter away from the rain. But sometimes you'll find them and they just lie right out in the open. So I think that is the mother of the lions in the den site. And she is moving down towards the den. I don't think any of the other lions are going to follow her, or if they do, they're probably going to get, oh, there goes one after her. They might get in a bit of trouble, because that mother won't want any of the other lions around. I think what we'll do is we'll just watch and see all of them. See the youngsters are following their mother now. And watch. Yeah, injury on the back leg, eh? So one of the lionesses, I think it's the mother of the small two, or the 1-year-old cubs that are here. She does have a bit of an injury on her back left leg, a small cut, but I don't think it's too bad. She doesn't seem to be limping on it or anything, and with these animals, they heal incredibly quickly. So I'm sure these lions, during the rain that we had last night and this morning, I'm sure they would have been sheltering somewhere. And then as soon as it stopped raining, they come out into the riverbed where, as I said, there isn't wet grass, and they can dry out quite nicely. It's the little lioness youngster that's followed. That's the little male that's still lying at the back there, so he's not too interested on where those other lions have headed down to. And we can get down there, so I think we'll just watch all of them move across. And then we will try and reposition. Hopefully our signal is strong down the bottom as well. What an excellent start to the morning. So we're going to loop around to the other side of this riverbank, try to see if we can get a view of these lions again. But for now, we're going to send you back to Lauren with her hyenas.
It's definitely calmed down at this end. Did you hear that? And June is actually also suckling Novella, but we can't see. They're too sort of far buried into the thicket, and everything else has gone quiet. Oh. There you are, little Novella, also known as Junebug. I'm just gonna come stroll right past the car. Now, I have not seen Heart in a really long time. I've seen Corks, I've seen June, I've seen Antima and Ribs. Not seen Heart, but Pumela and Kingirik are thriving. I just wonder, where is Heart? She was around a lot for a while. Very dominant female, very large female. Has a close relationship with both Ribbon and Antima. Always. And I know this is going to sound slightly silly, but friendships, and I use that word loosely, are very important in hyenas, social alliances, and there's a fantastic paper by Kay Holcamp on that you can read online for free. And it really does say it's very important for hyenas, females, to have alliances, not to be a solo isolationist. But I wonder if it's just worth at some point checking day number 3. But what a fantastic morning, everyone. Did you hear that, everyone? There's a very unhappy elephant around. Where did that come from, Davy, behind?
Maybe the babies.
Mandy, you are asking what is the average lifespan of hyenas. Of course, in the wild, it will differ in captivity, but we won't talk about that. They can live up to 20 years in the wild, which is a really long time, actually, for a mammal. So, of course, with no human intervention, they can live up to 20 years. And normally we say, as a rule of thumb, females live longer than males in your leopards and your lions, because males are renowned for fighting and clashing and lots of physicality. But in hyenas, that's not the case, because of course within hyenas, the females are the dominant ones, and they are also the ones that resort to aggression and fighting. It's starting to sort of drizzle a little bit here. I hope it doesn't turn into anything heavier. We may need to put some covers on shortly. Okay, bear with us, everyone. You are going to hear a little bit of noise, but that's the rain coming down now. We don't have a roof, so we are just going to start putting covers on. Believe it or not, technology and rain, wow. I have many stories about technology and water, especially from Dive Live. We just need to cover it all and make sure water doesn't get into our equipment. Okay, we're going to pop all our covers on, and we're going to send you guys across to Ngala with their lions.
No, I think this one of these here might be her, yeah. No, I'm actually all good shot, Eddie. Yeah. Be careful.
Sorry about that, everybody. Technical issues, especially with the rain being, we're actually experiencing quite a lot of this. So we're still here sitting with one of our avoca, looks like a duck mane. And then now he's actually slightly, looks like he's trying to hide away with this little bush. So he's not actually leaning towards us at all. And I got a message from the other guides saying that there was an audio of a more member, probably female up north, but sounded like far away into Manyeledi Game Reserve. Maybe this is where he left the pride, the Dalamati pride. Oops. He's trying to be active slightly. So he's not actually roaring or any contact call. It means that he's not lost or he's not looking. You know what he's doing. And he's probably happy because if there's something wrong going on, this is when the other male has maybe come into his territory. Once he pick up their scent, he would probably just notice immediately that there was something wrong. He would advertise by roaring all the time. He's looking up, probably the flies bothering him. Because he's got a lot of flies around him. Oops, it's so beautiful that we can see his properly head in the mane. Oh, he is up. Cole, you're asking why they are attracted by a lot of flies. So this is called a small tiny flies, which is suck blood out of the animal. And they call buffalo flies. So he's still a little limpy. But I'm sure he's going to be alright. Going to be alright, brother. So yeah, these buffalo flies, they follow all animals. You find them on a cat, you find them on impalas, all different type of animal. And they can actually bite human as well, and it's so painful. So luckily that we travel with all this spray. You can spray your body. Otherwise, you also one of the menu from these flies. They not only follow the animal, but also human, whoever there's blood. So just to the south of us, that's where herd buffalo was seen yesterday. Scarlett, so you're asking why do the lions roar? So that's a way of communication depending on what situation, what circumstances. Usually roaring, it's all a communication, but different type of roar. Some of a communication is not actually properly roar, but the roar, it means sound has to travel far away, and the other member, those are far away, and they might have to hear the sound. So there's a warning, growled, when they're not happy with something. There's a sound when they're not happy with one another in their pride. But roaring, it's a communication, also advertise places where they dominate, especially males. That's why they have to roar. So it looks like he's gonna hide. I'll try to see if we can get a more visual of him, but if he's gonna hide like this, we're probably gonna look for something else.
It's the month of March, and Wild Earth is offering you the chance to win a brand new prize. Sign up to be a Wild Earth Explorer, and you could win a 5-day eco-training ranger experience for 2. Eco-training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. The lucky winners can look forward to approaching dangerous game on foot, tracking and 4x4 driving, learning about animal behavior, and even spending one night sleeping out under a blanket of stars. In addition, you will also get the exclusive opportunity to join the Wild Earth team on the broadcasting vehicle. Sign up to be an explorer now, and it could be you that wins this life-changing experience. Terms and conditions apply.
The Bushwalk feed allows the camera person some creative license. This is my favorite style of shooting. You have to be mentally and physically prepared. You're shooting handheld in some very strange and contorted positions, always with a straight back, often in the squat position, low to the ground. The creativity comes down to the relationship and sync you have with your presenter. The more you understand each other, the more you'll be able to tell the story seamlessly.
Hello, I'm Marna, your Wild Earth Safari Guide from And Beyond Gala. What I really like about connecting with Wild Earth viewers is that we get to speak to viewers instantly, and I get to show you this beautiful property. If you want to ask me a question, register on the Wild Earth website. Simply head over to the live safari page and you can submit your questions there. Join me or one of the other guides twice a day on Wild Earth.
This is a battle of 2 great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
So now our male lion, he's actually aware of, probably heard something. He's looking now south. All of a sudden, he just raises his head. I can tell you for sure, hearing it's phenomenal in cats. So he was flat on the ground, completely flat, when he just raised his head up. And we'll look where he's looking, thought maybe it's something we could see, but maybe not. It's not that we can see what he heard. So animals that don't mind rain, they can't do much of it. So sometimes they get soaking wet, but they still carry on. You're actually looking again. So I'm not sure. Even age. So you're asking if lions hunt a preferred taste or a sight. And of course, it's all about, sense of smell when they hunt. And they prefer both sight or hearing, but also scent as well. Where smelling, it's so important when they have to move around, get where the animal started to, pick up the smell of the prey species. And this is how we actually get all detail of how fresh the animal were there. But hearing also provide very good details that if they could hear an audio, it doesn't matter how far away that audio come from. But that applied the same with smell. They picked up, could smell something died so miles away, and they would even try to measure the distance and knowing how far it is for him to get there. So 3 key of hunt is very important: hearing, sense, but sight. It looks like every now and then he's trying to get a hold of his own tail. So he's thinking of standing up. I'm going to take another moment to have a look at him. I'm going to be sending you across to Lauren, who she's also a beautiful herd.
We're right around the corner from the hyena den, and we're having the most loveliest sight. Look, destroying the marula completely. I think this small herd has completely ring-barked this marula. Now, the outer bark protects the trees from disease, insects, and once it's removed completely like this, the tree becomes vulnerable or weak, and without the tissue, the necessary tissue, the xylem and the phloem, can't survive. Now, the cambium layer is one of their favorite parts to eat. It's a favorite food of elephants. It contains calcium, believe it or not, and lots of different fibers that help them with digestion. Wow. Marula tree. It's not just one, everyone. It's 2. Look at this second marula tree here. Completely debarked. you can see that bright red color, that's the tannins. This marula most likely won't survive now. The xylem and the phloem are the transport sort of systems of a tree, transporting water from the roots in the ground up to the leaves, and vice versa, transporting all the sugars that the leaves have produced from photosynthesis down into the roots. The cambium layer sits in the middle of this, and the cambium layer is a tissue layer that provides cells for growth. So without the water transport, without the sugar transport, without the tissues, these marulas won't survive. It's coming down heavy. Okay, bear with us, everyone. I don't know if you can hear the rain, but that is heavy. We're battering down the hatches here. Okay, everyone, this is too heavy for us to stay. I don't actually know how long it'll stay like this, but we do have to leave for now. Unfortunately, we don't have a roof. So hopefully it will pass and we'll be back with you all shortly.
Welcome back, everybody. And as you can see, we have moved back down to the other side of this bank, and this is the lioness of the smallest cubs that we have. We have not yet seen the cubs. They're still in the thicket to our right. I don't know if she knows that these other lions are here. I'm not sure if she was with those lions that we saw earlier. They've moved. They're lying about 200 meters behind this female, directly behind her and behind us in the riverbed. It's quite interesting to follow her and see what she's getting up to. See how she's lifting her head, smelling. The wind is blowing straight into her face. Trying to gather as much information as possible at the moment. Be interesting to see if she moves away from the den and heads out this morning, or if she comes back to it. Whilst we were sitting next to the den site looking at the other, well, she's coming back towards us. She's going to come and cross right in front of us, and it's so awesome to have seen her this morning. We did hear the youngsters suckling on her inside the spikethorn thicket to our right. She's got lots of flies on her, and she's very wet this morning as well. And if she knows that the rest of her pride are lying not too far from us. The wind is swirling a bit, so there's a chance that she might have smelt the rest of them. Be interesting to see where she heads from here. You can see her teats over there, and see how they're a little bit swollen. You can see the youngsters have been suckling on them quite a lot of late. We think that they are only about 2 weeks old, so they haven't been brought out of the den yet. A couple of the guides have seen her carry them across, and we've only seen 2 youngsters so far. Both of them are tawny, so no new white lions as of yet, but there is still a chance that there could be 1 or 2 more youngsters inside this spikethorn thicket to the right of us. Also see the skin from the bottom of her belly where Odie had the camera on, and you can see she hasn't eaten too recently, so she might be searching for a meal. It is still nice and cool this morning. It would be ideal if something like an impala walked into this area. She could then ambush it. Very wet lion. So she's still in front of us and still sniffing. And I wonder if she hasn't smelt those other lions. These animals do have an incredibly good sense of smell, but if the wind is blowing the wrong direction, she will struggle to pick up on their scent because it'll be blowing their scent away from her. Currently, that's what's happened. The scent of those other lions is blowing away from her. But it will be interesting to see if she does find them. Also moving around very tentatively around her den, making sure that she's not bringing too much attention to the area. Yesterday evening, Dan was watching her, and he was, everywhere she walked, she would then scrape in the sand, just like a cat scrapes in its litter box. We think what she's trying to do is cover her scent around the den, as to not bring any attention to the fact that she has got her cubs here. So when she goes out and hunts and leaves them unattended, I like that comment, Natalie. She does look rather serious this morning. She looks like she's on a mission. Yeah, as I said, with covering her scent, when she does move away from the den side to hunt, here's another lion coming behind us into the den. We might not be able to see that one. Not helping her as well. She's moving around the wrong way now. So those other lions will be able to smell her. That's the difference. They'll smell her, she won't be able to smell them. And they're all coming into this area now. So I'm just going to keep quiet in case she does pick up on any sounds and wants to head to where those other lions are. It looks like the young male has come into the den. And she'll be quite lenient with them lying around the den site. However, if any of these lions do try and go into this bush, she might get a little bit aggressive towards them. I'm sure they can smell these small cubs inside this spikethorn as well. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reposition, because we're going to lose very little of this little one. And that other lioness has gone around the back. Oh, there she comes through. No, that's not her. That's the mother of the 2 small ones. I'm still going to reposition, just because the view of the animals is best behind us. The sand is a little bit soft, so it might take a little bit to get there. You can see the lions are all coming right towards us now. This is actually one of the subadults here on the right. As you can see, they're all looking up onto that bank, and especially the little one that's on the top of the bank. So I think the lioness that we have a picture of, the mom of the smallest cubs inside the bush, might be coming around the top of the bank now. They're all seem very interested. I'm sure they are dying to meet the newest members of the Pride. Oh, watch the youngster here. They're all heading up, very inquisitive. None of these lions would have met the smallest cubs yet. They haven't been introduced to the Pride, and they haven't even been bought out yet. So I don't think that the old lioness, the mother of the small ones, will tolerate them going inside the bush. But you can see they're all quite inquisitive. Oh, exactly that. I think one of the little ones got a bit of a swat, and you can see now they're all moving away. So when moving around this area around the den site, we also want to try to be as sensitive as possible. So only making one track in and one track out and not moving off that track. Just to try and disturb the sight of the smallest cubs as little as possible. Little one's going to mom. You can hear them vocalizing as well. I think they got a little bit of a shock when that lioness had a go at them in the bush. So they quickly run back to mom for her protection, to be by her side, and you can see mom's actually busy grooming the young male. There, Odie, it's the sub-adult lioness with the wound on her back leg. So have a look when she walks past there, that back left leg. Tiny bit of a limp, but I don't think it's anything too serious. Looks like it's a cut maybe from when they were feeding at a carcass, maybe from a hunt. Not too sure how she got that. But with lions, they heal incredibly quickly, so it won't be a worry to that young lioness at all. Beautiful to have all 5 of them lying on top of each other like that, with the flowing Timbavati behind them, which since we've arrived here this morning has risen a little bit more as well. There might have been some good rains upstream. You can see the youngster actually having a drink, the young female.
Our lives are dictated by alarm clocks, traffic jams, constant multitasking, and countless distractions. The wilderness is where many of us feel the most human. On a bushwalk, we become part of the natural landscape. As you step off the vehicle, everything comes alive. As with any risky experience, walking amongst these animals inspires awe and appreciation. Now, it's your turn to go on a bushwalk. Join us from Pride Lands as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with a place that first taught us how to be human.
I got into wildlife filmmaking because of a passion for nature and a notion that I could make a difference. Helping others fall in love with nature brings meaning to what I do. It's also a lot of fun. A couple of times per week, we receive some very heartfelt messages from viewers telling us about how Wild Earth has made a difference in their life, whether it's helped them through a difficult period or simply helped them to reconnect with nature. I think that's why we do what we do.
Hi, my name is Tristan Dix, and I am a guide here at Djuma Private Game Reserve for Wild Earth. We love connecting you to the African bush, and we always look forward to all of your questions. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you'll need to register on the website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit a question below the live feed. Catch up with me on Wild Earth.
Looks like it's a very difficult climb because every time it tries to climb, the ground is breaking, so it slides down. But it's the only one. Look at that. That is the call of desperation with a cub. It's like, what are you doing, mommy? Oops. Oof.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
We have the whole herd walking in front of us right now. The hyena den's right here. The rain is getting heavier, which is a little bit worrying for us without a roof. Someone's unhappy. We're going to be able to smell the hyenas, even if the hyenas are actually not sitting outside. It was such a lovely sighting watching them ring bark the tree. Not lovely for the tree, of course. Okay, I'm just going to move to keep up with the herd and see if there's any potential interactions with the hyenas. The Dane is right. The Dane is right here. They may all be away, absolutely, they may be gone, but they also might not be. It's very cool, overcast. I don't see anybody. Can you get the elephants from here, Dobby? I think the Dane has been vacated, or everyone's dived inside. We had this lovely moment where a mom pulled a piece of bark off the tree and it landed on a youngster's head. And it stayed on the youngster's head and it started panicking. So then Mom had to come and take it off with her trunk. It's very sweet. Okay, we don't have the best visuals. Let's just go forward and see if we can get another view. This is such a lovely herd. I was also just checking there's no hyenas around the corner. There's definitely not. Okay. Davi, do you see any potential visual here? We don't think we're going to get another view, which is so sad. The rain ruined that moment for us all. Sorry, Elton, one more time with that question. Oh, I see a hyena, though. Someone is coming to investigate. I think it's Ntima. Elton, can you repeat that question? Kev? You're asking about the prehensile tips. They're not really fingers, they're just tips. Specialized adaptation for elephants to grasp with their trunk. And African elephants have two. So they have one on the top, one on the bottom, if you like, so they can really grasp. Asian elephants actually only have one prehensile tip. And that is what they're called. Hello, in teams. Look at her, just making sure everything's okay. There's elephants. There's my baby safely inside. Isn't she beautiful? Spotted hyenas are incredible mothers. They're fierce, yes, but they're incredible mothers. Look, she's just checking all is okay. I can hear the big grey pachyderms crashing their way through the bush behind us. And of course, there could be a reaction from the elephants. It's not that Ntima's scared the elephants are going to eat her babies. It's not that. She knows the size of these things. Ntima's also extremely full. Do you see that? Look at that belly. Ribbon didn't... Oh, Braveheart's coming out to say hello. She's thinking, oh, elephants. We've had lots of sightings recently of elephants sort of clashing with the predators, and they're very reactive, and that's why you always have to be very careful in sightings like this. Position yourself correctly, be hyper aware of what's going on around you, because elephants are so reactive. They've got offspring, they've got youngsters, and they will react, and they can displace their anger. Okay. I see some elephants. Shall I reposition a little bit for you, Davy? Yeah. Okay. Okay, I won't be able to stay at the den if the adults have left, but we are going to try and get you some better positions of these elephants. And for now, over to Andrew.
Thanks, Lauren. So we also have to leave the male lion. So he went to base of that tree there, and he just went flat. And then we're probably going to check on him. So I wanted to see if there's any buffalo around here. And we come across one of the pens, and we're just hoping to see any frogs moving about. But it's all just quiet for now. Was a little bit drip of water, but it all just went stop, which is a good idea then. Because of course was a herd of buffalo, and this was last night, and they probably crossed to these Simbambile area. Saw like a little black crack moving about into these grasses, but it's very difficult to keep up with it because it's on its hunt. It's been foraging through these grasses. It's all water birds. Wish we can get one in the frame. Looks like there's one there. And they're very active birds. So they won't forage about, feeding on anything they could around these grasses. And they have a beautiful beak, just slightly kind of a reddish yellow. It's easy about getting some reeds. I'm not sure it's all about the nesting material or just feeding. It's called black crake, the bird. Maybe looking at the female there. You hardly see them sometimes because they don't come to the open. They're a very shy bird. We just can't see where there's a nest going on in the background. It's too much grasses. And there is no such territorial bird around, so you find a few of them in one ponds like this. Looks like all rain coming down a slightly bit. And the predators will be a crocodile, if there's any crocodile around in his pond, which is probably not one. When they normally build a nest on a very much grasses like those reeds, and the nest kind of like all grasses material and camouflage nest, floating nest we're talking about. So right, construction take place right on top of the water base. So I'm going to try to position here if we could see properly this bird here. But in the meantime, I'll be sending you across to Tsalo to say hello to everybody.
Good morning everyone. It's a beautiful, windy, warm morning here in Tsalo Kalahari. It's been a little bit frustrating in the beginning now. We've had some issues with the tech, and then we found lions and they were out of a signal area. It must have been just out of the area though, but it was beautiful. 2 male lions and 2 females at a waterhole with 3 small cubs. Hopefully they'll move a little bit closer to where we usually see them, and then we'll be able to see them nicely. But we've got a nice surprise for you though. The two brothers are back together. So those of you who watched the show last night, you'll remember the one that was the cheetah that was calling the whole time looking for his brother. So they've clearly linked up now during the evening, and they have now reunited with one another. By the way, guys, my name is Moritz. Behind the camera we've got BK. So yeah, all very happy about the fact that the two boys are back together again. They are very, very lazy at the moment. As you can imagine, they've spent, the one spent a lot of time mating, the other one spent a lot of time looking for the one who was mating. So belly's nice and thin, energy levels low there. He's looking up just a little bit now. I am very sure that if there's something that moves into the area, they're going to look to hunt this afternoon. It's getting to that point now where it's a little warm for them to still be moving, as you can imagine. But what I think we'll do is we'll come back here this afternoon, also in the area still where the meerkats are, and then we can spend some time with those two species, see if after the meerkats have gone down, these two don't want to look to hunt a little bit more actively. It would be great. But yeah, much more relaxed than what we saw from that single boy yesterday. By the looks of it, if I'm not mistaken, the one that we were looking at yesterday afternoon was the one on the left-hand side. That one that's on screen now. Excuse me, guys. So yeah, very tired. And just saving all of the energy. Judith, absolutely, yeah, we're also happy. We also were very happy when we got the update this morning to hear that they have rejoined. And as you can see now, I mean, they just look happy while they're lying there. Just relaxed. I think it takes quite a toll on the individuals when they're not with one another and when they're worried like that, as we saw them yesterday. Not necessarily so much so that they'll, be negatively affected, but I do think they miss each other a lot. These two they're not only brothers, they're also dependent on one another for their livelihood. So with that being the case, they are the bestest of friends. But yeah, flat batteries at the moment, which is completely understandable. I do think that this afternoon they'll give us a little bit of action, especially with this wind. I don't know if you can hear the wind pumping, but it's blowing at a considerable pace from the northeast. So that's what's bringing in the heat as well from the Botswana side of the country. But with the wind being so strong, that'll be ideal for the cheetahs to hunt in this afternoon. They are probably the cat that uses the wind the most when it comes to hunting, so that they can sneak up as close as possible to their prey species and then have a smaller gap to close once they start running at those great speeds. So very important for them to always have the wind on their side when hunting, and especially when it's this strong, then it's even better so, because then the animals can't hear the sounds that they make as well. When they step on maybe a twig and it breaks and so on. But yeah, guys, I think with them being so lazy, we're gonna love and leave them now. It's great to have seen that they are together. We'll come back this afternoon, like I said. For the meantime, we're gonna send you over to Lauren again with her hyenas.
Dane, the elephants have moved off, the cubs are inside, but I just wanted to show you some context. So it's cool. Davi's going to give you a beautiful view of the overcast conditions. Probably more rain to come. It keeps coming down, then stopping. Then coming down, then stopping. And Ntima's just here. It's the perfect day for Ntima to be flat on the grass and snoozing. And that's probably what they all do. We just can't see them. Look how long the grass is. Ntima's in a deep sleep. And what we just witnessed in the last segment was there's elephants around, they're noisy, they were approaching. And Ntima got up just to check the cubs are inside. Now, that is absolutely heartwarming. They really do protect the clan. Yes, they can be aggressive, but that's just to maintain their social structure. As long as everyone adheres to their place in the proverbial ladder, if you like, at the top or at the bottom, in the middle, if they know their rank and they adhere to it, there should be no trouble. Aggression is in place just to ensure that everyone keeps to their rank. The dominant ones, the low-ranking ones. And as long as that happens, it's a social structure after all. They need one another. They can't kill one another, and then there would be no clan. So although in our eyes the aggression can be seen as well, aggressive and violent and wrong. Oh, here's a cub. I wonder if Heart's there. Pumela and Gangirika keep coming from this side. No, I've got it wrong. It's Shipulu. It's Shipulu and Ngwazi. Why do I keep mistaking you guys? Hello, Shipulu. Okay, so Ribbon's over there. This is Ngwazi. He's a lot lighter in the face than Shipulu. So yes, aggression has to be there. If there was no aggression or no dominance or no sort of physical assertion, then this hierarchy would be a mess. It probably wouldn't even be in place, and that's why they are aggressive towards one another. But it's not always. There's a lot of tender bonds, there's a lot of gentle interactions, as long as you stick to your place. Don't try to be dominant over those you shouldn't be. And of course, you're not going to be submissive to those you don't have to be submissive to. The hierarchy, the ladder, it's there for a reason. It's there to maintain social order in powerful carnivores. Davi, do you feel sunshine? I'm very confused. It's drizzling, but the sun is popping out. Hey, in teams, you beautiful girl. What did you eat? She's actually got a fresh scar on her back right hip. Pink skin. I've not seen that before. That's new. I know all their scars. They have gone to the den. Let's just see if we can reverse and maybe get some more views of the cubs. We haven't had a den sighting like this in a very long time. Davi, can you just check for me? Are we good? I think Ribbon's snoozing here in the thicket. I think that happens on a daily basis. We just don't see them. And Ntima is walking off, so this will be the last visuals we have of these spotted creatures, and then we will leave. But Davi, I think that up there is what you may call blue sky. The weather has been toying with us all day, but I do think that sun is going to break through, clear up all the grey clouds, and it may turn into a wonderful afternoon where we complain about how hot it is. It's not a safari if you don't complain about the weather in one way, shape or form. Okay, now we're going to say goodbye to the Djuma clan, let them rest for today, and we're going to send you guys across to Ngala with their lions.
Welcome back everyone, and look where this Lioness has moved. She's gone up onto the top of the bank now. She did spend a bit of time lying with the rest of the pride. And every time she goes up and has a look around, it looks like she's looking for any signs of a prey species, some food that she might be able to catch, as well as just checking that there is nothing around that could potentially threaten her and her youngsters. She has moved up the top, so we're not going to be able to move to get a view of her again. But I think what we will do is we'll just scan over to where the rest of the pride are lying here on our right-hand side. And they were all fast asleep before that lioness got up and moved away, and then very tentatively watched where she moved. But they don't seem too phased. They're really enjoying this breeze and the cooler day today. One of the little ones you can see in the back right there, she moved across the river. That's what Eddie and myself were saying when the sun was starting to come out. When it does get a bit warmer today, they're going to be looking for shade. And that's the shade that young female has found. Amazing to watch a lion that's got water all the way around her. It's not something that you see every day. Interesting to see if the other lioness does come back. If she does come back, we will put her back on camera. But for now, she has moved up the bank and over the ridge. I wonder if she's moving across the riverbed on the other side, but I don't think she'll leave her den unattended with all these other lions here, because those two small ones will be too inquisitive. If that mother moves away, I'm sure the youngsters would go inside the den and they could cause a bit of havoc. We've been speaking about it with even the smaller three, the three cubs that we've been seeing quite regularly, the young ones. When they were first introduced to the pride, these little ones were very, very inquisitive. And the mother of those three was not too happy with these ones playing with them and moving around them, because one play that turns into a bit of a fight and becomes a bit serious. Well, I heard the francolins alarming, so I'm guessing this lioness might even have walked across the riverbed. With these older ones, the 1-year-old cubs playing with the very fragile newborn cubs, they could injure them quite badly and even kill them if they play too aggressively. They're all fast asleep now, except for that lioness on the far left. The young male's just woken up as well. Got a nice resting spot for his head on his front right leg. Tranquil sighting right now. Not much going on. Lots of birds calling, but other than that, very, very lazy lions this morning. So they're very happy that it stopped raining. The rain that we've had last night and today, although it's going to be very good for our grasses and trees and everything going into winter, the lions would have not been too happy with it. Makes everything sodden underfoot, makes their hunting a little bit more tricky. Any benefit to it will be that there is more cover for them as the year progresses. But also, imagine in winter time when all the grasses start turning brown, turns almost the exact same color as these lions, and then they've got unbelievable camouflage in the winter months. See how they all turn their head at the exact same time to the right there? So Noble Rabbi asking, do lions have different digestion times for different animals? I don't think so. I think any meat they eat, they are able to digest as quick as other meat. Maybe something like a rhino, hippo, or elephant might take a little bit longer to digest. But I think most meats that they feed on are pretty similar to each other. So whether they're eating a wildebeest or a buffalo, I think if they eat a kilogram of wildebeest or a kilogram of buffalo, they'll digest that in a pretty similar time. But of course, if they eat 10 kilograms of buffalo compared to 2 kilograms of wildebeest, then they're going to take much longer to digest the buffalo. The more meat they eat, the longer it will take them to digest. These lions that are lying here look like they might have found a meal last night. I mean, we didn't see them yesterday, so they could have been feeding on something 2 days ago, something big. So I think either they ate maybe something like a wildebeest 2 nights ago, or they managed to get their paws on something like an impala or 2 last night. Especially the 1-year-old cubs, their bellies were quite full this morning when they started to walk down and we saw them all moving around. Obviously, when they're lying down, it's a little bit more tricky to see. The lazy bunch this morning. And I think what we'll do is spend some more time with these lions here. Look, I don't think they're going to get up to too much this morning. I was hoping we'd maybe get them crossing the river. And I don't think that other lioness that's got the small cubs here, she's definitely not going to bring them out to us while these other lions are here. It's just too much excitement for those the lions that are sleeping here in the riverbed. So I think she's going to keep them tucked away in the den site for the rest of this morning. Maybe this afternoon you might get lucky with them. I will be on leave from tomorrow, so Rowan will be taking over this afternoon. And I think what we'll do from here, we might leave these ones lying in the riverbed, try loop around and see if we can get another view of the other lioness. Otherwise we will keep going and see if we can find anything else interesting this morning.
Thanks, Nikki. So we now came stop with Impala, which when we get here, they were all just not happy, running around. And it was actually quite a few of alarm call, but now all just quiet, but they're all aware of checking around. It's quite bushy out here, so we'll all just stop and hopefully whatever it is. And we're in actually the boundary here, which is the western boundary again, Triple M, which is separating Simbambila and Djuma. So we're hoping if anything then comes our way from that property. Unless if there was not maybe of too much serious, whatever they saw or they probably heard something they're not sure about, because they're very alert, the impalas. And they're in thick bush, but at least it's a little bit of a mound that they're at the moment, so they can able to see around. Freddie asking if impala only found in South Africa. Most part of Africa, there is impalas. There is some part where they have a black-faced impalas, but probably Far East Africa. But they are well spread around, impalas, quite a lot in Africa, so you see them quite often everywhere you go. It's got to be an area where the food is well abandoned all over. So we're going to search if there's something that's threatening in these impalas. We'll find out maybe.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm here in Northern California.
This is an Anna's hummingbird. We love seeing him because he brings a little magic and energy to our cold, wintry backyard.
In the winter, they politely visit one at a time, but in the summer, they gorge themselves in groups to prepare for their long migration south. As the hummingbirds fly south, over 1 million of these Canadian geese travel the Pacific Flyway from the Arctic to spend the winter with us. They like wetlands and we're in a drought, but they seem pretty happy on the dry bank of Folsom Lake here. This has been a tough year everywhere, but one good thing was we found Wild Earth, who encouraged us to relieve our stress through nature. There's a saying that
a distraction is momentary, an escape helps you heal.
Well, one track here in front of me, and then one track went right there. I want to follow the track with the cubs. Sorry, I'm gone behind the car. That's very rude of me. I want to follow the track with the cubs. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Okay, so everybody, we've just bumped into Pride of Lion.
I'm Nikki here at Ambient Ngala in South Africa. I love getting questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the Wild Earth website, head across to the Live Safari page and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next Wild Earth drive.
Okay, there's another big male coming in from our left here. Another big male, look at this. This is the one. Now you're going to see sparks fly, guys. Guys, it doesn't get better than this, eh? Yes! Unbelievable. Africa, I love you, eh?
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
The sun comes out, and so do the reptiles. I could be wrong, so please correct me if I am, but I think we may be looking at a black-lined plated lizard. That sort of yellow stripe running from the head all the way down to the body is also accompanied by black lines. I think that's what we're looking at. If it is, this is my first black-lined plated lizard sighting. We get the giant plated lizard, we also get the rough-scaled plated lizard. So I think, but please do correct me if I'm wrong. And of course it's been cold, it's been rainy, so I imagine this individual is just quite literally sunbathing. And although all reptiles are quite similar, the lizard group, lizard's quite a generic term that a lot of people just use for any reptile that looks lizard-ish. But actually it's broken down into the agamas, the geckos, the skinks and the lizards. And they are all different, really, although they have a lot of similar characteristics, and overall they are grouped together. The suborder is Sauria, that's the sort of lizard suborder if you like, but there are different families. But this guy is definitely classified in the family lizards. Well-developed legs, claws, really long tail, granular scales, and they do have the ability to drop their tail. They can cut it as a specialized plane in a form of self-mutilation to escape the predators. It's called autonomy. It's an excellent way to escape predators. It's cut at a very specific plane. It's not just randomly anywhere on the tail. It's the abscission zone. There's a specialized plane there where they're able to just completely cut the muscles, the blood supplies, and allow for loss of the tail. And you can see the sun is really coming out now. Oh, glorious. Probably going to dry up all of that moisture and allow for a wonderful afternoon. It'll bring out all of the insects, all of the reptiles, all of the ectotherms, those species that require the sun to get moving. And although we had a bit of a late start this morning, which once again we're sorry for, it turned into such a wonderful drive. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with the Juma clan. I'm sure you all know that, and what a sweet moment with that.